All right, little versus big picture thinking. Something that's really wrong with our economy, our community, our culture, has been for a long time, is people just focusing on that short-term, quick win, rather than focusing on, the lower risk, slower, long-term plan, I'll give you an example. People who, so this is a non-financial example, so people, usually younger kids, who drive around residential areas speeding, like boom, boom, little zip here and there, a 200 metre stretch of high speed in an area that little kids play. Now, there's a risk versus reward there, right? The risk is that maybe 1 in 1,000 times you do that, you hit a kid and you kill the kid. Now, if you thought about that, is that worth it? Of course it's not. 4 seconds of joy for a child's life, that's not worth it at all. But people still do it because they think, not me, not going to happen to me, this is fun, I can only think of this right now. But it happens to people, right? And that person would have thought the same thing. Yeah, so you're out here accepting the risk that you could kill a kid so that you could put a smile on your face for half of a second. Sounds crazy when you say it out loud, but that's exactly what it is. Now, to show you into the financial side of that, people can achieve their long-term goals. Let's say most 30-year-olds, I want to retire at 30 with a home, cool. Really easy to do. Make sure you've got your foundation, make sure you've got a budget, your cash flow. Make sure you've got the right insurance in place in case something goes wrong, with a plan to reduce those insurance as your assets grow. Invest into your super to make sure it looks after you from 60 onwards, and then create a gap fund. Well, pay down your mortgage, make sure your mortgage is ready to be paid down by 50, pay it in line with that, and then create a gap fund to gap from 50 to 60. That's super simple and easy to do. But instead of doing that, you guys want to try and buy the next housing boom, or if I buy this house and do this and do that and do that, and you think you're going to get rich doing that, just taking on all this debt, or I'll buy into crypto, or I'll buy this one share, I'll put $5,000 in one share, and you do that 10 times, when that 50 grand could have been turned into a large sum of that gap portfolio. And this is the same thing. It's the same small picture, short-term thinking that gets you nowhere. Now, I know that car and kid example was a bit dark and a bit drastic, but it's true. This is how we see risk versus reward. We're all so focused on risk, or so focused on reward, we tend to forget the risks. And we're beyond the time now where ignorance is not a valid argument. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't think. No, champion, not anymore. You need to think, because this is your life. We want to sit here and carry on about the indigenous or the dole bludgers, all this shit, costing us so much in tax, when the reality is the biggest tax implication to all of us is Social Security, is retirement. Yet you aren't doing nothing about it to make sure you're not a part of the problem. So I'm sorry, I've got zero time for this shit. Zero time. So in summary, if you're someone who speeds around residential places where kids and that play, you're a piece of shit. You need to uppercut yourself 6 ways from Sunday. And secondly, if you're not thinking about your long-term solutions and you're trying to play the short game, you're mad. You're setting yourself up for failure. Play the long game. Once the long game's looked after, then start playing the short game. No point being a good putter if you can't get to the green. Know what I mean?